Okay, so at this time I'd like to take you kind of step by step through the volunteering process. So we'll kind of just go through each of the duties that you'll do as a volunteer. So first thing you'd want to do, and I'm sorry this is so zoomed in, it's really no way for me to zoom out, is to go ahead and sign in. And you'll find the sign-in sheet just inside the big white binder. And then after you do that, what you want to do is go and get the charts from the front office. And I went and pulled a patient chart just for an example, just so we can have it. You can see the previous video for how to find a chart. After you get the charts from the front office, go ahead and turn on the computer and sign in. And you sign in under the intern username, and the password is intern. Actually, I probably shouldn't say the password because this is a public video, but you'll find the password in the Diabetic Program Training Manual. So go ahead and enter the password and log into your email and go to the Google Doc for the team that you're a part of. And here's probably what you've seen before. Down here is where you can calculate the average blood glucose. And I just kind of like to pull that up and just have it ready. And after you do that, you go ahead, go back to the big white binder. We're just going to do an example patient, kind of get a feel what the duties are like. Okay, so it looks like this is the most recent sheet, and it happens to be our monthly summary for each patient. So after every 4 weeks we do one of these, and they will be placed in the patient chart. And these are pretty straightforward, so what you'll do is you kind of just fill in all the different blanks. It actually starts up here, but there's a name up here, and for patient confidentiality I covered it. But you'll go through each of the different weeks and just write down what their average morning and evening blood sugars are, how many hypo and hyperglycemic episodes they had, what their insulin adjustment was, and what the new insulin dose is at the end of each week. And then you just write down any concerns you might have about the patient. So after you do that, you take it out. Ooh. It's hard to do things one-handed, and you would put it in the patient chart. So this patient chart actually has something, like a little tab that says Diabetes Program. So you can just put it back there. And you'll see there are other monthly summaries there. If they don't have one of those tabs, you can just go ahead and put it, the patient visit notes. Let me see if I can find it, yeah. Behind this blue sheet, there are some patient visit notes. Okay. Okay, so after you're done with that, you take it out, put it in their patient chart, and that just allows the care providers, the endocrinologists, to kind of have an idea of how the patient's been doing, because they see the patient maybe every 6 months, sometimes every 3 months, so it's a big gap of time, and it just provides them with some more information so they can, help treat their patients better. And then next, you'll go to the weekly patient telephone contact report, and this is what you'll kind of do every week for each patient. And as you can see, each week kind of corresponds to the blood glucose calculator. This kind of just helps speed up the process. And so you'll go ahead and call your patient, and to do that, you pick up the phone and you press either patient line 1 or patient line 2. And then you just dial the number 434 or whatever. And usually the phone number is listed right on the sheet. If for some reason you have a new patient and their phone number hasn't been written down, you can find it in the patient chart on one of these yellow sheets, this is the registration sheet. Okay, so you call the patient. You say something along the lines of, "Hi, my name is so-and-so. I'm calling from the free clinic. Do you have a moment to go over your blood sugars for the past week?" You can do any sort of variation of that. Just be sure to identify yourself and identify that you're from the free clinic, because some people think you're a telemarketer and will sometimes lie to you that they're not home. So yeah, that's an important little tidbit. So after you call them, they'll start reading you their blood sugars for each day, and they're supposed to do it twice a day. And sometimes what I like to do is, if my patient is a slow talker, I like to try to write and type at the same time. So this is old one, so I'll just go ahead and delete these. And then you'll just start typing in, writing in what their averages were, so I'll just put in some random ones. And then at the end, when all finished, as you can see, it gives you kind of an instant average for the morning and the evening. Another cool thing is that we have the protocol right here on the blood glucose calculator. So if they're between 120 and 139, you would do an additional 4 units between 140 and 180, plus 6, etc., etc. And the actual like real protocol is also in here. A lot of questions that you might have may be answered in here. So this is a training sheet. This is just an example template. Here we go. Here's a protocol, kind of in more detail. Got some more words on the back sheet there. Okay. So after you determine their averages, you ask whether or not they've had any hypoglycemic episodes. So you ask them about any symptoms of hypoglycemia. You can also ask regarding hyperglycemia. And then just any other notes. So if they've had any new changes over the past week in their health, how their diet or exercise has been, and then you just give any reasons for increasing or decreasing insulin. And if you've made changes, you say we plus 6 units. If you haven't made changes, just say no changes. And that's pretty much it. So hopefully that's pretty straightforward. If you've made insulin changes, you'll want to update the patient chart, so that way people know that they're on a different dose of insulin now. Long-acting insulin, we don't really mess with short-acting. So you would just find Lantus on there and then write down their new insulin dose. Now the last thing that you want to do is look at their health maintenance. And this just gives us an idea of kind of what's been done, when their last optho exam was, when their last hemoglobin A1C. So those are kind of important things for our patients. So if you notice that a patient actually hasn't had a hemoglobin A1C in like over 6 months, that might be something that you would want to bring to the attention of Chris Warsham, and possibly try to get that patient in for an appointment. And you can even check to see when their last endo visit was, because sometimes patients forget to call in and schedule a visit. So yeah, and you'll find the dates of these things when they were last done. Just in the chart, there's different sections. There's a lab section, radiology, referrals. Let me see if I can find one for you. Yeah, so there's the labs. And then referrals and stuff are back here, radiology, etc. And you just, if you can, just try to update so that way we know when they last had these things done. And that will really help with just providing better care for the patient. And after that, you're pretty much all done. If you know how to refile charts, it'd be great if you could refile it so we don't create more work for people here. But if you have any hesitation, just feel free to leave it in. There's a cart usually just standing there. Just put it in there and other people will refile it for you. Or you can ask them how to refile it. And that's about it. So I hope that was helpful, and I hope you have a very enjoyable experience volunteering here.